We are live. Welcome back to another live session. I just finished eating lunch, but today I want to talk about this week's podcast episode. It didn't go up yesterday. Today is Tuesday. I just wasn't feeling good, so I didn't do it. And I don't have any in the lined up, to go back to back because right now I'm kind of feeling my way through the podcast and how I want to present it to the world and things I want to say versus pre-recording it and it not aligning with what's actually happening. So I'm working on that and trying to find a happy medium behind that. And also coming on live is a lot of fun. I enjoy talking to you guys. I enjoy answering your questions, celebrating your wins with you, and whatnot, because we need community. But I'm gonna close some tabs while I'm here, but hit that subscribe button, follow. My name is Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lily like the flower because we are learning and growing together. I just finished my lunch. So if I have stuff in my teeth, don't worry about it. All right, so we're about a minute in. I think I want to ignore my hallway. I'm in the process of major cleaning as well. As you see, I have paint right there. I just finished painting that top part of my office. The walls on this side, I finally finished painting all white. I'm sad because I broke one of my frames, so now I have to buy a new frame. And all the stuff in my hallway right now is to exit my house. So big purge season right now, coming into summer. Summer starts in officially in 2 days. But it's been feeling really nice here in San Francisco, and I definitely am enjoying the summer weather. It helps with my energy. It helps with my mood. It helps with my emotions and my feelings. I didn't think I was one that would get seasonal anything, depression, isolation, but I do. And I don't know if that's, I think that just goes into getting older. But that's a topic for a whole other day. But this week's podcast, I'll probably release it. Let me think about this. I can either, because tomorrow's a holiday, and then Thursday is the start of summer. But anyway, the topic is the keys to staying compliant in your real estate business. And right now I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 8 or 9 points that I want to talk about to help you guys stay compliant in your business, because we all know that disclosures, we get a whole new updated list twice a year at minimum, because if something bigger happens, then disclosures and contracts, forms, procedures, processes change sometimes quarterly, monthly, but on a grand scale of things, it happens twice a year. And we're in that point in the real estate industry where big changes are happening to disclosures, big updates are happening to the forms. So it's important to stay compliant in your business, whether you're a realtor, a transaction coordinator, escrow, appraiser, lender, inspector. It's important that we all have a general understanding of what's going on and what's happening, especially surrounding the commission debacle, right? Millions and millions of dollars were lost and paid out over the last couple of years, which is now is actively transpiring into a whole new way of doing real estate when it comes to who's paying what, who's paying who. And I'm still learning about it. I'm still doing research on it. I'm doing my best to attend as many meetings and workshops that are available to me, because I don't really fully understand what's happening. because it's changing. It seems to be changing by the week. And even when we get an official announcement with the commission and the forms and the disclosures, even then I feel like it's going to continue to be updated. I remember a couple years ago there was like these forms that were introduced regarding certain things like fire hardening and whatnot. Some brokerages were like, we're not using that. Others were like, we're required to use that even if it doesn't apply. Some were like, if it applies, use it. If not, don't worry about it. So it's going to be a long, you're in here for the long haul. It's going to take a while for people to get on board, to actively use this and be on the same page. And even then you're still going to get pushback from other brokerages or other TCs. And remember, transaction coordinators, it is not our responsibility to decide if a form is required or not for a specific brokerage. Even if you work with two different brokerages and one says it is and the other one says it's not your choice to be the mediator to decide or change, or do it one way when it isn't required over here. So if they say it's required at XYZ brokerage, then it's required. If they say it's not required at YZX brokerage, then it's not required. You have to be agile. You have to be willing, to respect their processes and procedures, as long as it's legal, ethical, right? And if you don't agree with it, then you have to make the choice to stay or leave. But right now, I think it's important to, make sure that your systems are up to date, make sure that you're attending any meetings that could help you in staying up to date, joining newsletters, following certain accounts on social media, subscribing to this account as well, updating your checklists, checking in with your broker or the office manager, whoever's in charge to help you navigate what is being changed in the, when it comes to disclosures and forms, because you don't want to be lost. That is the quickest way to lose your job. That is the quickest way to be fired if you are using outdated. It is also the quickest way towards litigation, lawsuits, and being sued. You don't want any of that. So this stage, at this point in time, in real time, forms are being announced. They have been updated. Contracts are being, language within the contracts are changing. So you want to make sure you have the most current versions of those disclosures in hand, or you have some sort of access to it. So you know exactly what's happening. And I'm speaking to myself too, because I still have to go back and figure out what has changed, because I'm dealing with two associations, the San Francisco, excuse me, I just ate lunch, the San Francisco Association of Realtors, and then the California Association of Realtors. So I have to make sure that both markets and both of my checklists on all ends are up to date, and not to mention the other counties that I may have transactions in, and making sure that their cities and those counties haven't added or removed any disclosures, as well as any broker specific disclosures. Have those changed? Have those been updated? Have any new forms been added to the list? So it's a lot of work on the back end, and this is the work that people don't talk about or don't want to do. This is a big part of the job of working in real estate, is staying on top of the changes, the updates, the news, and what is actually going on. But shout out to those that are in here. There's 100 million, 1,000 of you here. Shout out to you guys to hit that like button. It really helps to push the live out to more people. And, making sure that those that need this information are actually getting it. Because, again, there's a lot happening and a lot changing in real estate right now. And I want to make sure that we're all on top of it. So this week's podcast episode, it's either going to be released this week, or maybe I'll drop 2 on Monday, because tomorrow's a holiday. Thursday is Thursday, and then it's the weekend. And then I have another episode on Monday. Because July, we're going to take some time off from the podcast. I'll probably release one episode that month, like a new one. But I'm gearing up for the fall right now. even though summer isn't even here yet officially, I'm already thinking about how I want to present my business in the fall. And that's something I never used to do. I used to just be day to day, which is still important. You need to be able to be present in the day to day, but always anticipating and creating some sort of plan or outline for the future. So when the moment comes, you're not like, whoa, all that time went by and I didn't do anything. So the moves I make today are for the future. And I'm thinking like future meaning August 1st, which is technically summer, but to me, we all know that's fall vibes. Excuse me. So I'm working on the podcast. If you're in here, if you have any questions, you have some wins you want to celebrate, or maybe some losses you just want to get off of your chest and you need help, or you just need to vent, drop them in the comments, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're just vibing. I go live every Monday and Tuesday here on YouTube. I'm thinking of adding a third day, but like a super after hours, like maybe like a 7 or 8 p.m. on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Let me know if that works for you guys. I'm testing the market. That you're going to be seeing me live a lot more in June and July. So you may not get like actual like posted content, but you're definitely going to see me live streaming way more than I ever have in my life. Because not only do I want to speak to you guys directly and answer your questions and see what's on you guys' mind, because that helps me create the content that will hit and resonate with you better versus me just creating content of what I think you need. So coming in here, doing these live sessions, it's already motivated and inspired me to think about the future in the fall. And I think when I was just kind of working at my desk and not interacting with you guys, I was falling into my own traps of stagnation and complacency. So right now I'm like, okay, this is what the people are asking for. So how can I get that to them in a way that is that works for me as well? And I'm able to provide value, maybe make a few bucks as well. That doesn't hurt, right? And continue to just be a resource for you guys here on these live streams. But and as we see, these live streams are kind of all over the place. And even though we are talking about this week's podcast and staying compliant within real estate, this is still just a day in my life. Like I'm just chilling in my office. I just finished lunch, and last night after work, I just like finished painting my office. So I'll probably do a vlog once I feel like it's officially about 90% done. Even 80%. I think even at 80%, I'll do like an office tour video vlog for you guys, because I've been at this for about a year now. Just getting things in order, how I want it to look. I err on the clean or minimalistic. I don't want to say clean because I mean, yeah, I like my area to be clean, but I like the more minimalist approach when it comes to having things in my office with a pop of color, like white walls, pop of color. The lights behind me don't really matter right now, but at night they look really dope. So we'll just turn those off. It just, you guys didn't see it, but the remote for my lights just turned off my TV. I wish I caught that on camera. Wait, let me see something. Where's my... I just turned them on. Wait, hold on. Off. Where's my remote for the TV? It's at the TV. Let me try something. Hold on. And this is another can of paint that it's black. Okay, so we're gonna turn the TV on. What did I do? I don't know. Whoever's in here, whatever. Maybe it's just all connected. That's why I don't. claim to know everything about electronics, but my light remote just turned off my TV. Or was it just not on it this entire time? Okay, you guys, I'm going crazy. I don't think my TV was on at all. Oh, this is why it's important to take care of your mental health, people. Oh my gosh, doing too much at once. Just focus here on the YouTube. But basically, I've been working on my office, rearranging it, getting the right, using the art that I already have in my house, and repurposing like vinyls and things like that, to bring some life and personality into my office, but at the same time, like not wanting things to be too distracting, because I come in here to work. And if you guys saw my office before, I don't remember if I did a video or not, but I've been documenting it. And basically, I had my desk in a corner, but there were so many obstacles to get to the desk. And I didn't realize that I was, in a way, self-sabotaging myself, because I would be so discouraged to go to my desk. I didn't want to go there because it was just it was behind a bunch of mess. Like, it was tucked in a corner that was hard to get to. I had to like squeeze through. Whereas like now my office space, which is, I don't even know if you would call this like a bedroom or like a bonus space, but I've kind of just converted it into my office slash like studio, so I can record my podcast, record vlogs, watch TV, watch YouTube videos to study, or just play music in the background. And that's important. When you're self-employed, you want to make sure you're working in a space that is easy to access. It's clean and clear. There aren't too many obstructions preventing you from actually getting the job done at the workspace that you have, designated for you. And I also have different, like I have a couch in here. I have a nice, comfortable chair in my room. So, and I reorganized my kitchen to where if I ever just feel like changing the environment, I have comfortable spaces like throughout my house that I can just go move to, in case like I've lost all creativity in this particular space, or I just need a change of environment. And that's kind of just like what I've been working on and taking my time with, is like kind of getting into my interior designing bag a little bit. Because again, working from home more than I am actually outside, I need my space to reflect the things that I need, which is comfortability, easy access, inspiration, motivation. Again, with sprinkles of my personality and loves such as music and sports. Because let me see if I could show you guys. But I have like an autographed Missy Elliott vinyl over there, an autographed Lisa Leslie jersey down there, art that I did right there, art that I bought. And then on this side, the camera's inverted, so I'm trying to figure out how to point. Then on this side, it's a poster, a Prince poster, and a Beyonce poster, and then and then I have like an ottoman with a bunch of random stuff that I have to sort through and throw away or put somewhere else. And then books and stuff down there with the vinyls. And then this whole wall is where I record. So I just keep it white and blank. I don't want to do too much to it. And then this wall on this side is completely white as well. And I just broke one of my frames for my art that was on this side, which looked really nice, but now I have to buy a new frame. So hopefully I can get to a 99-cent store this week, because I don't like spending a lot of money on frames when you can just buy cheap ones and spray paint them or something, or paint them. And that's it. I probably need another curtain because right now I just have a sheer, or maybe some blinds. I don't know yet. But I like this space because it gets a lot of natural light. And since I've rearranged it to this space, I've been way more productive with wanting to work, because I got into a really bad funk, I'd say, for almost a year leading up to the timeline of it all was out of my control, but I got into a really bad funk with like how I felt towards work and how I felt towards what I was doing for my business. And it's like, if I don't want to do transaction coordination anymore, then what do I want to do? And what am I doing about getting out of that? And sometimes I'm like, can I just go viral and make a lot of money doing TikToks all day? Like, and then I was like, well, if you want to be, if you want to make money on TikTok, then you have to start posting back on TikTok. So I realized and pretty much did an audit on everything that I was investing my time in, including a lot of social media, and recognizing like, oh, I don't get any traction that I'm aware of from Facebook, from Twitter, X, Threads, whatever it is, TikTok and YouTube are my biggest audiences. Like TikTok's already on track to be the same amount of followers and subscribers as my YouTube channel. And I get a lot of people asking questions, engaging, commenting, and that's what I need. I want to talk to the people. And sorry, I got distracted by an email. I think it's spam. Talking about student loans being forgiven. Yeah, so I had to do a huge, while business was slow and while I was pivoting into a different direction, as I'm currently pivoting into a different direction, I was like, well, how can I clean up my space right now? So I was like, I'm not going to post on Instagram like I used to, because honestly, Instagram is kind of dead. Maybe I'm just using it wrong, but I haven't benefited from Instagram. Unless I'm the one reaching out to people to work with them or like to interview them on my podcast, posts are getting like 1 like or 0 likes, 10 views. Even my story numbers have dropped. I used to get almost like 50 views per story, and now it's down to like 10. So I think that like the Instagram market is just like oversaturated, and the way that they have their algorithm set up is just not in favor of like small creators, unless I commit to only doing Instagram, which I don't plan on doing. I can see the potential for growth, but I feel like it would take 3 times as longer to develop and grow an Instagram audience versus sticking to YouTube and TikTok and building my community from there. Because virality is great and all, but it's not sustainable. And I joke about like, I just need my post to go viral and then I'll be a millionaire, which is a false narrative. It's more so, let me stick to 1 or 2 platforms and go all in and build my community from there, and make sure that whatever I'm offering is available to them. My websites are up to date. My services, my prices are all up to date, and I'm committing to posting when necessary, which is having a weekly podcast, which is coming on here live twice a week, maybe 3 times now. So stay tuned for that as I navigate in the next couple of weeks how I want to present that. So I'll probably test out either like a Wednesday or Thursday evening vlog, because right now it's 2 p.m. for me. So I'm thinking maybe like a 7 p.m. YouTube live on either Wednesdays or Thursdays. So stay tuned for that. Or maybe I'll come back on Tuesdays, but in the evening. So maybe like a Monday, Tuesday afternoon live vibes. And then Tuesday evening, go live again. Actually, that might work, because Wednesdays and Thursdays, I'm sometimes not at home in the evenings. So if I'm going live twice a day, that actually might work best. Because Mondays, you guys are getting the podcast. And then Wednesdays, my goal is to drop at least 1 to 2 vlogs a month to give you guys more of a real behind the scenes of me in action doing things. Like last week I dropped a vlog talking about becoming more consistent, and I was filming how I was creating 20 pieces of content that I can repurpose eventually on Instagram, Facebook, but for now just posting every day on TikTok while I go live here on YouTube. So I'm still giving you guys different pieces of content, but you still have access to me. And then you guys also get the behind the scenes of how I'm creating that. So if anyone's struggling with their own consistencies, or if they're struggling with creating content, just answer the questions that I'm asking, or talk or elaborate on the things that I'm talking about on my social media. Because on TikTok, you can stitch videos, you can duet videos, you can reply to videos with videos. So if you're struggling with creating content or what to talk about, take my content and do reaction videos to it, or listen to my podcast and take certain clips from it and then expand on it, and then of course tag me, because I'd love to see it, I'd love to reply, and then that way we both get engagement because there's people interacting with it. That's how the game works. You can post the best content, you can overproduce it, I can have all the best lighting, I can get the biggest celebrities on here, but if I'm not promoting it, or presenting it in a way that's going to reach people, it's kind of pointless, because part of that consistency is also putting in the work in the background. So if you're struggling with promoting yourself, marketing yourself, or even using social media, just pick one platform, create a schedule for yourself, search keywords surrounding the topics that you want to talk about, and it could be based on your mission statement, it can be based on your why, it could be based on your story, how you got here, where you want to go. People love a transformation story, people love struggle. People love watching people suffer and get out of their suffering, and then how they're living, and then people love watching rich people live. But I think there should just be more average people content like myself. But I think to save me time, coming on here and going live has made a big difference. But right now, I've just narrowed it down to 2 areas, 2 social media platforms, and then I'm looking for a book to read as well, but I don't know what I'm trying to read on. I'll have this, what is it called? I'll have it playing in the background sometimes. I just started it last week on Audible, but it's called, it's about investing. Girls That Invest by Simran Kaur. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but it's your guide to financial independence through shares and stocks. So I'm already invested in stocks and whatnot, and I'm always learning about better ways to do that, and that's been such a lifesaver. But I bought her book when it first came out, and I just never listened to it. But I think right now I just need to I'm ready to read books to get me to the next level of my business. I feel like I've read every self-help book that, the starter packs of them all, the subtle art of not giving an F, the atomic habits of them all, the 7 spiritual lessons, or what is it? Oh, 7 spiritual laws of success, the 4 agreements. Yeah, I've read all of the starter pack books, plus many, many more. And this investing book is kind of along those lines. It's more of what I'm getting from it is how she got into investing, and how she lives off of her investments. And I don't even think she's 30 years old yet. Maybe she's early 30s, but I've been following her on TikTok and her journey. So I wanted to support her book and whatnot. But for me, having some sort of financial literacy book just is like a subtle reminder for me to stay on top of my money. Like even when I'm making consistent money or little to no money, I'm always trying to find ways to learn about investing and creating different outlets of income for myself. Because I mean, I'm doing transaction coordination, coaching, and when I go live on TikTok, people could send me money like through buying roses and hats and stuff like that. So that's cool. So now that's a new stream of income, even if right now it's like barely at $1. But I would have just been scrolling on TikTok mindlessly, making no money. So $1 is more than zero. Hello. And eventually that dollar would turn into 2 to 40 to 100 to 1,000. So that's my vision for that. But in terms of streams of income, it's transaction coordination, coaching, TikTok. I have like a Poshmark and Macari closets that I'm always. Oh, actually, I have to go to the post office after this and drop off a sale that I got. It'll be $12 here, $80 here randomly. There's no consistent sales. I don't have like consistent sales, but when I do get them, it's nice. You know what I mean? Because $12 is like a subscription that I pay for business. Part of my phone bill, however you want to frame it. But I'm always like, not overstretching myself, but trying to find ways that will always be bringing in money, including stocks and investments and things of that nature. Because having a savings has been such a lifesaver. I will talk about that in this live, in every live moving forward. It's like having your why and then having money. Like having money, even if it's like you start with $10 a month. I just invest $30 a month in my stocks and my investments, and all of the money I saved in the past is like saving me today when I have no business, or I have one closing, or when closings get extended or canceled at the last minute. I'm able to have that space to think, to not think under pressure, so much pressure, because there is pressure. I'm able to be creative without compromise. I'm able to come here on live and not stress of like, oh my God, how am I going to eat? How am I going to get the bills paid? And even because if and when, God forbid that becomes the scenario, because when you're self-employed, you're always at the edge of like, well, it was a good run. Whereas, because even when you do have savings, it's like it gets spent so quickly. But it is nice to have a bit of a cushion, even if it's 1 week of extra income. Like I break down like how much do I need to make on a weekly basis. And some weeks that number is bigger, some weeks it's like $100. So if, in my mind, I'm like, well, if this week, I only need $100 to get by, then that's what I'm going to focus on for this week. I'm not going to think too far ahead. I'm not going to think about any debts. I'm just going to focus on let's get that $100 this week in our account, and then move on to the next one, the next week after that. I'm still trying to refine that thought process, but it's worked best for me, because sometimes when we focus too much on the lump sum of it all, like, oh my God, I have to make $7,000, by the end of the month. How am I going to do that? It's like overwhelming and it gets discouraging. So break it down. Like, how much do you owe each week in bills and debts, and include investments? Like, how much do you want to invest in your savings, in your stocks, in your high yield savings account, in your pension, wherever your money needs to go in order for you to feel a little secure. And start with $5, start with $20, $30. And, until it eventually balances out. Because right now I'm also going through the phase of like paying off debts. So I know like eventually once that chunk of money goes away, I can put that into my savings account. But right now I'm just adding a little bit into my savings while I pay down the debts. But it does help to have savings. And, maybe easier said than done, but I can't even tell you guys how grateful I am that little young me, not even thinking of me today. I was just like learning as I was going, like how to save and how to invest in stocks. Because I don't own real estate, even though I've worked in real estate for 20 years. I don't own any real estate. I have family members that own real estate, but I was like, you know what, let me figure out, let me just save money. Because in my 20s, I had my car repossessed. I had boots because I had too many tickets on my car. I've been behind on rent, missed rent payments, and it was bad. My 20s was really bad. And then the majority of my 30s, I would say I was debt free for about an entire decade. And in that decade, I was able to save money, become self-employed, learn how to be grateful for my money. And, the fruits of that labor really paid off for me, because this is probably the toughest year, or was the toughest year for me financially. And now as I'm rebuilding and navigating through this new era of me, this new era of my business, this new decade of life, I'm able to do it in a way that isn't rooted in chaos, isn't rooted in frantic, desperate decision making, and I'm very grateful for that. But again, the clock is ticking and the money is depleting at a rapid pace. So what am I going to do about that? Well, I'm starting with what I know how to do and just doubling down on that. I'm still transaction coordinating, still coaching, working on a group something. I don't know what that is, but I'm still posting on my podcast so I can grow that and build my community there as well. And coming here live on YouTube, making sure I also meet the threshold of YouTube to become, a part of the paid program, partner program, because that's also a form of income. You know what I mean? And if you have a skill, or if you're knowledgeable about something, or maybe you're starting from the ground up and you're okay with documenting that whole process, and maybe you have a large family, large friends, large community, large fan base, leverage that, create a YouTube channel. You need 1,000 subscribers or more, and then you need 4,000 watch hours within 365 days. And then you need to continue to make content, as well as the content that already exists, to add up to $100 in revenue. Then you get your first paycheck, and then you're part of the paid partnership program. I'm not there yet, but I will be, and I know it. But I can't just expect or lean on one piece of content to go viral or for it to hit. I mean, God willing, it does happen and it gets me there faster, but it's up to me to maintain it. So I'm in the season of like maintaining good habits and practices that will allow me to be able to handle when there's more, or when the community is bigger, when there actually is, 100 people in here or 1,000. I'll be able to handle that because of all the little things and little steps that I'm taking today in order to be mindful and present, and know how to talk on camera, and know how to set up my system, and, maybe work on getting better lighting, figuring out different times to go live, what works best, what doesn't. So that's where I'm at right now, is just a lot of taking action, doing the work, as well as trial and error. I'm not afraid to mess up. I'm not afraid to lose. I'm not afraid to fail as much as I used to be. I still am, but I'm not afraid of it as much as I used to be. And that came from just simply taking action all the time. And, when I did fail or fall or get fired, I just took it on the chin and was like, all right, get back to work. What does that mean? How can we not make that mistake moving forward? Or How could we make sure we don't hire those types of people that will take advantage of you or will not show up to work? Because you can't control other people. You really can't. You can just do your part. You know what your job is. You know what your role is as a business owner. And we all know communication is key. So if you're not a good communicator, is there a class you can take? YouTube University is amazing. You can just get on the camera, hit record. You don't even have to hit record. Just put the camera in your face and talk to it. Hold your phone up. You don't even have to be recording. Just hold it up and talk to it. Go on Google and Google a bunch of questions that you've never answered and answer them. There's different ways to learn how to communicate better. And, I'm still learning, but ultimately when it comes to, and I know I veered way left, but this is definitely a part of staying compliant in your business too, is making sure you're in compliance with yourself, your mind, body, and soul, your finances, your spirituality, your health, your, all of it, your mind. Maybe you just need a haircut. I just cut my hair. I feel amazing. It's the best haircut I've had in a while. Instant boost of confidence. So the keys to staying compliant in your real estate business. I'm going to be working on recording that podcast, so stay tuned. Drop some questions and comments, hit the like button, subscribe, and shout out to everyone that I've had calls with this week. Shout out to everyone that's following here on YouTube, as well as my other social media platforms. I see you guys. Hit my DMs with any questions, or if you want the link to schedule a one-on-one with me, let me know, because I don't think I will be doing, I don't know if I'll be making my free calendar available publicly for the month of July, because I think I really just want to focus on building out that part of my business, the content creation part of my business. And if I have too many things, too many parts, moving parts that aren't helping me at the moment, I just have to sacrifice it for the time being, for the greater good of me and what I'm working on. So take advantage, if you're watching this replay, take advantage of my calendar that is public right now for the month of June. And join my newsletter. Go to transactioncare.com, submit your name, your email. That's where I'm giving you guys more keys, discounts, sales, access to me as well, directly in your inbox if you're not here to make the lives. And then stay tuned. I want to bring back interviews on the podcast. But yeah, I think I'm going to drop 2 episodes on Monday. Yeah. Give myself more time to record the podcast, catch up on some projects, as well as map out and plan out all of the future projects that are coming up that I want to present to you guys. So stay tuned. And again, just to recap, the keys to staying compliant in your real estate business, which you're going to get on the podcast. But if you're hearing the live, you're basically getting the podcast live. And if you're watching the replay and actually make it to minute 43, this is the podcast. But these are just a few notes that I've written down. It's not the fully produced podcast, but the keys to staying compliant in your real estate business is twice a year at minimum, you will get major updates on forms. So make sure, make sure you're attending meetings, webinars, trainings, workshops in order to be up to date on those things. And then 3, update your checklist, your agendas, your to-do list, your calendars. Find out what the grace periods are when you are using old forms versus new forms. Anything starting after the release date of those forms. So if it's 6/2024 and you get a new listing or sale today, you may get old forms from 2 years ago. That's okay. But if you get a new listing or sale from today on, make sure you're using the most current forms, and always check with your broker for any verbiage or language that is required to disclose that. Number 4, check with each brokerage you work with to see if you have any, updates within their systems, any broker specific forms, processes, procedures, and whatnot. 5, is your E&O insurance current? Reach out if there are any specials, discount sales, shop around. Otherwise go ahead and just pay the fees, making sure it's not expired, or if you have to get it, or if you've been meaning to get E&O, which is errors and omissions insurance for transaction coordinators specifically, even for realtors. Go ahead and do that. Number 6, stay up to date with your local associations and boards, follow their social medias, join their email lists, visit their websites. I'm making more notes as I'm typing as well. Visit their websites as well, just to see what's going on in the market, in the industry. I know when you're just starting out and brand new to real estate, it's all going to seem like gibberish and a whole new language, but that's why I'm here as a resource, and plenty other of real estate professionals that make themselves available, for coaching or mentoring. Reach out to them as well. Let's see, budgets and payments. Number 7, you may want to, or you may have to pay additional money for these things, but do your own research, whether it's, for trainings or courses or programs that are out there to help you to stay compliant. Most of them should be free, but again, you can reach out to me if you want me to vet or confirm if things might be, on the, I don't know if I could say this word on here, but an SCAM. Number 8, is your real estate license up to date? Mine expired. I just checked the other day, which is why I thought about this, but my real estate license expires March 2025. So now I have to start thinking about, my budget, how much is it going to cost, time management, when am I going to have time to renew it beforehand, as well as, can I still do it online? What is the time frame? How much time do I have from signing up to renew my real estate license to actually getting it renewed? And if I fail, what happens? And then the other question is, do I actually want to renew it? Because if I don't renew it, that means I lose a big part of my business. So these are some questions that I'm exploring as well, but maybe you need to explore these questions also. Number 9 is joining TC groups, real estate groups, hiring or working with coaches, mentors, scheduling one-on-ones. There are a lot of resources available to us, but it's a matter of us actually going out and utilizing them and interacting with people, commenting, saying hi. But that's all I have for the podcast. I'll probably add on to it just so I can have like 10 tips, but stay tuned. That you guys just got a whole quick sum of what the podcast is going to be about this week. But hi, Anna. Is it Anna or Anna? We're just going to go with A for now. Hello, A. Let's see. Welcome. I am in California, San Francisco, California, to be exact. And I service transaction coordinator. Anna. Okay, Anna, got it. That's a good way of saying it on there. Hi, Anna. So yeah, I'm in California. What state are you in? And are you actively a transaction coordinator or still learning? And if we have already spoken, I don't think we have. Yeah, I always want to make sure. Arizona, but moving to Tennessee. Okay, cool. That's a big move from the desert. Is Tennessee? Tennessee's not a desert, but I've been to Arizona and it was hot. Licensed in Arizona, but you want to TC. Okay, great. Are you going to keep your license in Arizona and TC for realtors in Arizona, or are you going to do both Arizona and Tennessee? Yeah, Arizona was hot as heck, hot as hell, actually. I think that's what actual hell. Sorry, you were living there, but that there in Palm Springs, or some of the hottest heat in Texas that I've ever experienced in my life. But gonna do both. Okay, awesome, awesome. So the good thing is, if you have already worked in real estate, you have your real estate license, you're definitely ahead of the game. When it comes to becoming a transaction coordinator, if you know the structure of a transaction, from contract to close, it's a matter right now of creating your systems, your workflows, from beginning to end, meaning like in the first 24 hours of receiving a signed listing agreement, the following steps need to take place. On day two, day zero, these steps need to take place. Day one, day two, day seven, up until we hit the market. And then the same goes for when we have a ratified contract. Like as soon as we get the ratified contract, these are the first, I don't know, 5 to 10 things that I need to accomplish, internally as well as externally for those involved. Um, and then having your checklists in order, meaning like, the contract's going to require these certain people to sign: buyers, sellers, buyer's agent, listing agent, sometimes escrow, title, sometimes the brokers. So your checklist would, do you have a checklist, things like that. But you can be a TC today, right now. You said you want to be a TC, so just say you are. I am a TC, and start marketing yourself. Tell everyone that you've worked with that you're TCing, and if they need help, reach out to you and just keep building it from there. You don't have to wait for it to be perfect, especially if you have your real estate license and you know how transactions work. My contact lens just kind of moved. Sorry about that. But obviously, with Tennessee, I don't know if that's a market you're familiar with. But start with what you know, start with where you know, start with who you know. There's no need to wait for the perfect moment, because I was just for me personally, I started my real estate career 20 years ago, and transaction coordination, I was kind of thrown into. And to this day, I'm still learning and figuring it out. But, obviously, 20 years later, the skills and the knowledge I do have helps me to work faster and be more efficient, more organized, and knowing the right questions to ask, and when and who I need to talk to. But, right now, just send emails to everyone in your email list. Um, as you're moving, you could do like I'm moving, but this is what I'll be working on, or this is what I'm working on. Ways to get people to work with you as a TC, you know what I mean? Like, do you know how much you're going to be charging? Um, do you have contracts or agreements that you're going to require realtors to sign? Because I think in Arizona, it's, when I did a coaching session 2 years ago with someone that lived in Arizona. She said that if you work with one company, you can only work for them in Arizona as a TC. So, let's just say it's Compass, and you can only work within the Compass system. You can't go work for Redfin, or why am I blanking on real estate companies? But you get the idea. Berkshire Hathaway. Like, you can only work for the one company in Arizona. So look, you may know more about that. Ask your broker, the broker where your license is being hung now, see what their rules are, and if that's been updated. But that could impact, how you get business, as well as a TC, is not being able to work for different brokerages. Because I'm in California, San Francisco specifically, I am able to work with different brokerages and other companies throughout the entire state. Um, and I'm not exclusive to one company or one brokerage. Yeah, definitely confirm that. So, as you are, you know, if your license is being hung at, again, I'm just going to use Compass as an example. I'm not affiliated with them. I actually don't even have clients with them, but they just came top of mind. So if you are working with a Compass and your license is being hung at, um, you know, Redfin, then I'm Googling real estate companies right now because I can't believe I'm like blanking. um, but basically, what I'm getting at is, you know, if your license is being hung with a specific brokerage, you probably will only be allowed to work with them as a TC. So I would start, get that question answered, as well as marketing within that system of and that company that you work with. Find out who the TCs are already, and do your best, because you can't control how people are going to react or communicate back with you, but do your best to form, working relationships with the other TCs, because they may, you know, because as much as I believe in community over competition, when it comes to states and markets that, require you to be exclusive, you become more competition than you are of community. So just do some due diligence in that sense, before you start marketing yourself to everyone. But I also just am saying, start now, start the process today if you can, or give yourself a rest today and then, start Monday. Because there's no rules or laws saying that you can't just tell people that you're a TC. But yeah, Tennessee, I am unfamiliar with that market. I just spoke to someone from North Carolina today, so I'm learning new things about different states as well. But definitely, you're welcome. You're welcome, Anna. Any other questions you have, even with in regards to I don't know, time management or confidence, self-sabotage, motivation, book suggestions, reach out. I'm a resource. Um, but yeah, I was Googling different names of real estate companies because I couldn't believe I was blanking earlier. And that goes for, and that goes for anyone else, looking to tap into different markets as a transaction coordinator, is like, make sure that there aren't any exclusivity laws, or rules per se that will prohibit you from working with other brokerages or other people. Because, what if your friend works for Keller Williams that you want to help out, but then, you're exclusive to Compass. So just do your own due diligence, research that, um, what else? Yeah, because every state is different. I tell that to everyone. It's like every state operates differently. You start with like what state you're going to work in, what are their rules and their laws, and then it breaks down into counties. Every county is different. Every county within that state is going to have their different compliances. Some counties require sewer lateral compliance. Others will require smoke detector compliances. Some will require um, um, water heater, energy compliances. So, figuring out what counties you want to work with and what's required within those counties. And then once you figure that out, all right, who are the brokerages I'm working with, and do they have any specific requirements and compliances within each brokerage? Meaning, so for instance, when we have a condo, coming on the market, um, there's a form called the parking and disclosure statement that's required for condos. But if you are in San Francisco, the parking situation's a little weird. So one specific brokerage I work with requires that form to be used even for single family homes with a little disclaimer. But other brokerages that I work with only require that form for condos and townhomes and HOA, things with homes with HOAs, co-ops and whatnot. So that's where like those nuanced scenarios kick in, and those nuanced scenarios where you'll have to figure out and do the legwork on your end to figure out, what's required for the state, what's required for the county, what's required for the city, what's required for the brokerage and the office that you work with in order to get a full, complete file that is compliant as well. Which is also tied in to what's going to be on this week's podcast. So I'm kind of glad we're talking about it one-on-one here. But yeah, so if Anna, if you're still in here, congratulations on your move and all of the success you've already achieved and will achieve, because we all know getting our real estate license is not easy. But if it does come easy to you, what is your secret? It took me a couple times to get my test in order, but once I did, I was glad I did. But yeah. Do you guys know anyone with an actual real estate degree? Because that's something else I was considering, is like, am I supposed to be going to back to college at this stage of life? Like, if it's not actively running my business at the moment, is it going back to school, getting advanced degrees? Oh, good job. You passed on your first try, but need to take the new test in Tennessee. Yeah. That's cool. It doesn't transfer. But yeah, it's unfortunate that if you want to be licensed, there isn't like a whole country, wide based real estate license that we can have, which would be pretty awesome. But because, like I mentioned, like there's so many different requirements for each state, and every state has different natural disasters. Every state has different lawsuits that have created disclosure. So it has to just be broken down state by state. And then again, county by county, city by city, in order to get a fully completed packet. So yeah, I mean, but the way the weather has been working lately and happening, like, almost in a way, there should be just like one general license licensing thing, because we had like northern lights here, snow, crazy rain, lightning storms. I mean, we still get earthquakes, but I forgot what part of the Bay Area had like a tornado. It's wild what's happening right now. Climate change, whether you believe it or not, it's getting weird out there. But again, due diligence, best practices is just to always be learning those things and staying up with the weather. I interviewed, I had an interview last year with Sam Hayes. I always, forgive me, Sam, if you're in here or if you're watching. The name of her company is, I want to look it up. Hold on, bear with me. But anyway, she gave me a great tip when I was interviewing her. But check out my podcast, Transaction Care Podcast. Look up the episode with Sam Hayes. She's been doing real estate in San Diego, California for, I think, 3 decades. Yeah, just about 3 decades. And, I always like to ask my guests, like, what are some tips or things that you've learned along the way that has helped you in your journey? And she said, checking the weather. Because obviously, if there's signs of a possible natural disaster or signs of extreme weather, that can affect homes, that can affect, if God forbid, there's like natural disasters, but Obviously, homes are going to be destroyed. Insurance is going to go up. Rates are going to go up and down. I also heard that, like, if you can read ocean waves, that can help you with how you invest in the stock market. And I don't want to like feel like I have a tinfoil hat on and I'm getting all woo woo, but but when after I had that conversation and I started learning more about the stock market, um, a lot of it is tied into nature, and 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 I think that's something that we all have overlooked. Right, Anna? Like, I never looked at it that way, and I interviewed her almost a year ago, and I've been working in real estate since 2004. You know what I mean? So it's like, what else am I overlooking or not actively, being curious about that could be impacting how we all are making money? This is also an election year. Who we have in Congress, in the Senate, all impacts like interest rates, um, insurance rates, taxes, all of that's about to be impacted again based on who is not just the president, but also who's in Congress, who's in the seats to make these votes happen. And then when there's a lot of war happening, that also impacts. It's all just like this large cycle of events. So it's important that as independent contractors, we're up on those things, regardless of your opinions or who you vote for. um it's not my opinion to sway you in one way or another. It's just stay on top of it. Know how it's going to impact even your children. You know what I mean? And like the military and things of all of that. But if you work in an industry like real estate, where everyone is majority independent contractor and self-employed, we have to do extra work in order to kind of have some foresight or a look into the future, to anticipate the future, because our pipeline is what's going to keep us afloat. um, and actually, that's another tip I like to share with other up and coming TCs, is like, when you're being interviewed by realtors, don't just be answering questions. Have questions for them. Ask them, how many transactions did you, or, what was your GCI last year? Your I think is gross commission income from last year. And what do you anticipate closing this year? What's in the pipeline? Because you could have 100 people on your roster, but if none of them are producing or aren't doing anything to get any business, you're wasting your time with these people. Whereas when you're interviewing someone or onboarding someone, it's not to say that you have to say no to someone with no in the pipeline, but it's like, well, if they say nothing, then you can follow up with, well, what is your marketing plan, or what are your marketing strategies in order to get business? Right? Exactly. Exactly. You have to be interviewing them at the same time, because you're both self-employed. You're not coming on here to be their employee. You're onboarding each other to be each other's teammate. There's a difference. There's a difference. The bosses are the buyers and the sellers. The coach is the broker. Yeah, I love basketball. So that's always my analogy. Is like the bosses are the buyers and the sellers. And then the coach is the broker. And then the broker employs their teammates to run the thing, which is the realtor, escrow, title, the lenders, inspectors, and or TCs if TCs are required. So imagine that's like your starting five. And then you have your bench players like your stagers, landscapers, movers, but we're all a team. We're not we're not individual employees. Like, unless that realtor is going to cut you a check every 7 to 14 days, you're not their employee. You're their teammate. And having that perspective, to me, has helped, because I'm not working for, I'm working with. So take that, into the real world. But yeah, have questions for the realtors as well. Don't just be the one, getting interrogated, interrogated, especially when you're entering into new markets. And then also, leverage the skills that you already have. Like if you're great at social media, if you're great at marketing, if you're great at talking, or maybe you're great at setting up templates or calendars, you can use those as additional services, like a la carte services, on top of the fee that you'll already be getting paid. Because, we don't get paid unless a transaction closes. Some TCs will have a clause if they have an agreement between them and their realtors that states like, regardless if a transaction closes, it will cost, you will still pay me a $50 fee. Of course, don't use that jargon or that language. I am not an attorney. But what I'm getting at is like, no matter what, they are still guaranteed money. I haven't done that. I just lazy. I don't know. But one of the companies that I get a lot of my business from is I'm technically contracted through their TC agency, if that makes sense. So I don't really have the power to change my fees or to negotiate, like a TC clause or anything. But my clients outside of that company, I could, but a lot of them I've just been working with for decades, and it doesn't, I haven't felt the urge to do that yet. But for anyone else, if you decide to have an agreement, or a contract between you and your realtors, um, include something in there or negotiate something with them that says, for my time, my energy, my efforts, whatever the case. Again, I'm not an attorney. Um, my fee is $50, $25, whatever. Just some way, so you're still getting paid, because I've had more so than ever, because we all know San Francisco is a hot market. It's a very popular market, and it's very rare in San Francisco that transactions fall out of contract or condos sit longer than a 60-day period. But in the last, I would say, 6 months to a year, I've experienced more contracts dying the day before close of escrow than I ever have in 20 years. I would say a decade, because my first 10 years of real estate, it wasn't that significant to me because I didn't know I was going to stay in real estate this long. um, yeah, and it's usually not the buyers that can't perform. It's they can't get the funding or the insurance. Like insurance has been a big issue lately, where people can't get insurance because it's too much of a liability. And yes, the buyers can't perform because something with their finances changed at the last minute. Um, the appraisal came back too high. It's so sad. Like when stuff falls apart, when transactions fall apart at the very last minute. Like I'm sad for me too, because I'm like, I was counting on that extra, $400 to $500. But at the same time, it's like when you look at when you pan out and look at it from a bigger perspective, it's like, damn, these people probably lost their deposit that they spent decades, years, hours of their life saving for, um, or the sellers that were relying on this money to come in. So, but all of that to say, in order to guarantee you some type of money, if and when that happens, as a transaction coordinator, you can create, language within your terms and agreements with a realtor or a brokerage that states, how much you want to get paid. And don't forget to raise your prices. You know what I mean? Even though, if you think you're new and that you shouldn't charge a lot of money, I don't agree with that. I think look up what other TCs are charging, and price it around that, and, add a little bit more, or just, stick to what's average, and then increase your prices every year. But also make sure you're disclosing that to your clients, like prices will go up annually, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, don't work for free. You don't have to. And I'm learning that now. You know what I mean? That's why I don't claim to know everything or call myself, the master or the guru, because I'm still learning how to find confidence in certain areas that I wasn't comfortable with in the past. Anna, yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see. You're welcome. You're very welcome. But you can email me, tc@transactioncare.com. We can schedule a one-on-one if you ever need one, or just subscribe here on YouTube. I go live Mondays and Tuesdays, maybe a third day. I'm still working on that, but I will definitely be on here more, talking to the people, engaging with you guys. I'm so glad we got to connect today, Anna. Have a great rest of your day. And but you can email me, reach out, stay in touch. But I'm on here on YouTube. I'm here. Thank you, Anna. Take care of yourself, and sending you all the good energy to stay awake and to have a successful move to Tennessee. Take care. Take care. And tell a friend I'm here. Oops. Close. I'm like playing with the different buttons now. I just saw an emoji come up. Um, but I could start a poll. I could start a Q&A. That's cool. But for anyone else that is still in here, shout out to Anna. Send her good vibes on her move and all that. We talked a lot. Again, another successful live. I don't know where these things are going to go. I just show up and talk. And then whoever's here to engage and interact, we'll take it down that path. You know what I mean? So drop your comments, drop your questions. If you have a win you want to celebrate, drop those in the comments as well. I don't mind staying on here. I've already gotten a bulk of my work completed. So we're here, and stay tuned for 2 podcast episodes next week. I've just decided I'm not going to drop one this week, but I will drop 2 next week, because I won't be posting. You might get one, but more than likely you're not going to get a new podcast episode in the month of July. But I will be going on live more than usual, because I want to focus on actually creating the content and the project that I've been talking about for about a year now. I got to be about it. And that requires me taking a step back from areas that are taking up a big chunk of my time. And the podcast does take a lot of time and energy. And I also want to bring back interviews. So if there's someone you want me to interview, also drop those in the comments and let me know, because I'm only aware of who I am in close proximity to. But I did 20 interviews last year. We interviewed a bunch of transaction coordinators who were all self-employed, and they talked about their journeys from beginning to end and the jobs that they had, balancing family, friendships, loss, wins, grief, all of that. I've interviewed coaches, I interviewed brokers, I interviewed realtors, a plethora, and I have my wish list and my bucket list of people that I want to interview. But if there's someone that you think would be a good fit to even come on here, and maybe we could do a live interview, that would be fun as well. Let me know. Let's talk about it. Drop the suggestions, because again, I'm only aware of who's in proximity to me and who's on my podcast bucket list. And I will share with you guys, one of my bigger goals is to interview a transaction coordinator in each state. So far, I think I've covered about 10 states so far. So it's going to be an ongoing project. But I think it's possible. I think it's more than 10, because some transaction coordinators cover multiple states, which I count that as interviewing a different TC in different states. but it's getting tougher when it comes to the more, uh, like rural states that I don't really have connections with people out there. Uh, so stay tuned. And it doesn't even have to be a full interview. I think I just want to collaborate with people in different states just so you guys can have a resource or someone to reach out to. So you can say like, oh, let me, like for Anna's in her situation, she's moving to Tennessee. So if I interviewed someone from Tennessee and she doesn't know anyone, that could be like the start to her journey in finding, new business and new friends and new community. Um, so sorry, I was just reading my text messages, but yeah, again, another successful live. I almost logged out after 10 minutes because it was crickets. It was crickets. So if you're watching the replay or need to watch the replay, skip to the I think 15-minute mark. Things started to pick up. But if you guys don't have any comments or questions, I'll probably end this in like a couple minutes. But to recap, next week's podcast episode, one of them is going to be about the keys to staying compliant in your real estate business, because there are a lot of changes happening right now with forms, with laws, regulations, rules, compliances. And it's important no matter what area of real estate you work in, but especially for transaction coordinators, for us to stay up to date with what's happening, as well as staying compliant with expiration dates of your license, of your certifications, insurance, staying up to date with those things. Those, are your checklists up to date? Are your agendas up to date? Your calendars, things of that nature. All of that impact how we stay in compliance with our day-to-day business. So what a great live. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm definitely going to go live again this week. Stay tuned. Follow me here. Subscribe. Please tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Hit the share button. If you're still in here, please hit that share button, or hit the like button. Hit the like button. Drop a comment. It really helps with getting this content pushed out to more like-minded people, those that need this education and this information. I'm a one-person team. I don't have an assistant. I don't have moderators. I do it all. The editing, the producing, the speaking. So, if you're still in here, repost this live to your social media, text it to a colleague or friend, share it in your newsletters, hit that like button, hit the share button, comment, drop a comment. I know I just asked for like 5 different things, but either one of those, you don't have to do all of them, go a long way. And if you have heard the podcast, I would love to get more reviews. 5-star ratings, even 1-star ratings are okay with me, because it just shows that there's room to improve. There are things to still work on, because no one is perfect. We're all still learning and growing together. But this is Transaction Care. My name is Lillian Hernandez, but you can also call me Lily like the flower, because we're learning and growing together. My goal with each episode, with each live, is just to give you the real in real estate, honestly, and to demystify the business of real estate. One post, one conversation, one live, one podcast at a time, in hopes to leave you feeling more confident, encouraged, and uplifted to begin and to continue your journey each and every day. So with that said, I appreciate each and every one of you, but if you have any comments, drop them now before I end this live. Otherwise, thank you guys for being in here. There was 200 million thousand of you here today. Shout out to you 2, 3, 4. I think we got up to 5 at one point. It's amazing. I love it. But I'm out of here. Talk to you guys on the next one. Turn your notifications on so you know exactly when I go live. And go to transactioncare.com to learn more about me as well as my services. Join my email list, and stay tuned for more community projects and announcements. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. Care for yourself, care for your wealth. Your time is worth it. Let's coordinate. Talk soon.